So we'll let it rip. But Vanessa White.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Take two, kind of.
Take two, kind of. Yeah, a little context for the audience, but we had our first real blunder, maybe not our first real blunder, our first public blunder for sure on Beers and Careers when we recorded another podcast over Vanessa's episode about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, but honestly, I think I might be a better story now. Even better.
I know. I've been following along. It's kind of cool that like we met and then I was able to follow along in the story and try my fair share of pierogies.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, that's what we're here for. But yeah, I think now I might have even more entertaining stories and or insight.
Along the journey. Yeah. It's in a much different place. Crazy how just a few months
I know. I was just talking to my supplier manager at UNFI. UNFI is like a national distributor, and so I have someone who's dedicated to kind of my account. We're in like this program that's called Up Next. It's this up and coming program. And so I recently wrapped the story of Jaju Pierogi at a trade show in Orlando, Florida last week, and I won I won this pitch slam because I rapped, and then I also
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes. Yep. And because I won a free trade show. Like I won a free entrance to a trade show for UNFI. And so I basically have to choose between like Mohegan Sun in June or Las Vegas in September as my free show. And it's just kind of to your point, tying back to what you said, it's like Las Vegas obviously mostly focuses, or there's a lot more weight on the West Coast accounts. Whereas Mohegan obviously pulls a lot from the Northeast and then like down the coast. And I was saying to her, like, I think there's more opportunity in Las Vegas because we are so densely distributed in the Northeast, but we're not in all of those distribution centers because you have to open up. You have to have an anchor account or enough interest to open up a distribution center because they won't just like take frozen product and let it sit there. But I was like, I honestly like things are moving so fast. Like I feel like by September, like I will have more West Coast, and so it's crazy. Like I can't even tell you what my life is going to look like in August. It's wild, but it's great. It's tremendously fulfilling, so it's good. So
now, clue in the audience to your and your sister's company.
Sure. So Jaju Pierogi is the company, and so Jaju is Jaju, and it's the phonetic spelling of grandfather, which is Dziadiu in Polish. We make pierogi, obviously, hence the name. We started in 2016 on my kitchen table, which has never recovered from that time. We started with our grandfather's recipe. We went so when my family has a deli. My grandfather and his siblings started it back in like the 60s, and it kind of evolved. But I worked there when I was in middle school. Like they make a lot of products, but they do make pierogi, they make kielbasa, they make guamki, they make all these Polish foods. So I worked there in middle school along my elders, and like my grandfather would give me $40 a day or $40 for a Saturday, and I thought I was like the richest person in the world. But I learned how to make the pierogi, and we always had those pierogi in our family freezer. Like it was like our mac and cheese. If you were hungry, you threw pierogi in the pan, and like it was just totally normal to us. And as we kind of grew up and had our first roommates and first boyfriends and whatever, people started saying like, hey, where'd you get those? Or maybe they hadn't tried them yet and they really got to like them. And we saw that there was an opportunity. We kind of joked around about it for a while, in a sense. And then like we did it. We said, let's just like try it. And we figured it out. There's no documentation anywhere for how to start a business.
No.
And like a food business, like super intimidating to start a business. And so, yeah, we went to my grandfather's store. He was no longer around. My uncle runs it now. And we like got the handwritten recipes, and everyone laughed at us, and they were like, you're going to lose your shirts. And we started making them at my kitchen table. We put them in like Ziploc bags and handed them out to friends and got some feedback. Because the recipes we started with were for like 500 pierogi.
Okay.
And so we had to trim it down. Because luckily, like he had that recipe for the store. So it was larger scale. We had to kind of cut it down to an amount that we were comfortable with, like on my kitchen table. And then once we did, and the other thing about the recipe was like, it's super, like every family, if you have like a sauce recipe or anything, it was like 6 handfuls of salt. It's like, okay, like whose handful?
Not standardized.
Like just, which way is the wind blowing today? Like, that kind of thing. So we got our recipe down and built it up. we kind of like built it up over time as we kind of grew. We started doing more farmers markets, and then after a year, it was like too much. We were doing our corporate jobs, and people were like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I'd be like, "Making pierogi and selling them at a farmers market." And they're like, "Cool." Cool story. I'm gonna go to the bar. And so then it got to be too much, and so we left and we started doing it full time in 2017. And since we have grown to do events, first of all, we started doing events, breweries, major music festivals, all those things around the region. That's how we grew our brand awareness, and now we're shortly going to be in like 1,500 stores, and that has gone like we were in 100 stores in January of 2020.
Yep.
So our business has just really, especially in the past year, like really exploded in terms of our distribution. I remember I want to say January of 2022, I was like, this year I want to get down to Washington, D.C. Like that's how far I want to distribute. And then like we were actually down like all the way to Florida by the end of last year. And then now we're going to be in like half of the country, I think, maybe more.
It's an impressive run.
Which is...
and it's kind of been exponential, right? Like it was a lot more farmers markets, festivals, breweries, as you alluded to, and now this grocery store.
Yeah, so our long-term goal has always been distribution because we noticed that there was just Mrs. T's on the grocery shelf. And there wasn't someone making a high quality pierogi that like reminded you of your families or, the Polish church around the corner or whatever. There weren't those on the shelf. So we knew that there was an opportunity, and that was always the goal. Now we got caught, I think, like in the first few years of our business, we were nearly like a seasonal business, which is crazy because pierogi, it's like a Christmas cold weather food. Like it's a comfort food. But we were just doing like the brewery circuit because they talk about luck sometimes, and I feel like we've had some luck. I think one of the things is that we started right when like breweries were really cool and taking off, and like they were popping up, and so people would be like so excited that there was a brewery in their town, and they would show up, and then there's like this Polish, like this pierogi pop up, and it was like they hadn't seen pierogis in forever. And it was just like this culmination of things. So we really built our brand in the first few years doing like the festivals, the breweries. But when 2020 came, like even before COVID was a thing, we knew that year we wanted to do more of a shift to wholesaling, to stores. Like we were just caught. We were stuck in that event, like just dedicating all of our time to the events. I would say at the beginning of 2020, like 5 to 10% of our income was dedicated to wholesaling to stores, like selling to stores, and then like 90% was like events, meaning farmers markets, like pop-ups, festivals. And by the end of 2020, obviously COVID helped a lot with that. Yeah. We flipped that percentage.
Right, but your strategy was already that before COVID hit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's serendipitous.
Yeah, luckily we had some distribution in place. Leading into COVID, we were working with some smaller regional distributors, and the demand through them went crazy. And then having to learn how to scale, not only for them, but then we launched like meal kits, and like we were just doing a lot of hustling at the time. COVID was like a game we had to beat. That was like how we saw it. And so we really learned how to scale our business and produce more, and that gave us the confidence to then pursue other distributors, other store chains, like knowing we could do it. So COVID was like put us to the test, and then that's kind of I think what you're seeing now with like this exponential growth is that we've figured it out. Not that we figured it out. That's a joke. We're still figuring it out every day. When I wake up, I'm figuring it out. But like we figured out like what our potential is for production and growth, which then allows us to like confidently pursue other chains and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it feels to me like in the couple short months we've known each other, the clarity around what you want to do and how to do it, like and obviously I just follow along via Instagram, so it's not like we're talking weekly, but like it just appears that way. It certainly appears that way.
I think too it helped. So we, I think it was like this last year was really it was a lot of figuring out what the next path. Like I feel like we came to a fork in the road, but the fork was like 3 or 4 paths.
Yes.
We were looking at the beginning of 2022 at like new spaces, trying to think about like building out our next space, because our current space, while like we were able to function in it, some of the logistics limitations were painful, like loading dock, like just things you do not think about. You know, we were shipping pallets. So it's like the loading dock was too high. And then to get to the other loading dock, you had to go through the freight elevator that was used by like 100 other tenants. And it was just like a lot of that stuff. So we started looking at other spaces, which are like non-existent in the Boston area, because just like every area, every urban area in the United States, anything that's like an industrial space is basically getting bought up for condos.
Right.
It's just like no one's motivated to rent a factory building as like a factory building or an industrial space. They just are like, oh, these would make really cool loft condos.
Right.
And like,
right.
So.
The real estate's just worth it.
It's just worth a lot more versus like the rate you're going to get for industrial. So we really struggled to find a space. And then we also wanted to pursue making our kielbasa pierogi, which was, we required a USCA permit. It's like a different license.
I was going to say, I haven't had that.
Yeah, it's coming little by little.
All right.
And so we like kind of pursued getting that permit in our space. And that was just like really overwhelming. And so it's just kind of like all these things kind of came together where we had this mentor in like the food space that was maybe like 20 years ahead of us, that had a production facility or 2 production facilities on the South Shore. And we had like here and there gone there over the past few years to kind of look at their setup and say, oh, we need that machine. What is that called? Because something that you find in like food production is that you'll have a problem, but you don't really know what the machine is called to fix it. And they don't like sell these machines on Amazon.
Right.
Or like even just, you have to find like a specialty food manufacturer that isn't necessarily like working on SEO on their website. So it's like really hard to find.
Yes.
Right?
But we do have the benefit of our local area. It does have a lot of food manufacturing.
Yes.
Shockingly.
Yeah. So like we would go to this facility and be like, okay, there's a machine that like weighs and counts the product and puts it in a bag. Like, what's that called? A weigh counter. Like, oh my God. Okay. But like just things like that. So we would go and visit. And then when we started like researching this kielbasa pierogi, it kind of, I don't remember how the stars aligned or like how it came, we thought about this, but they have a USCA permit.
Okay. And
they bought the same equipment that we have to make the dumplings, and I actually trained them on it. Like, so they're like, they have the same machines. So there's like no training. Like they're using it. It's just like our mold that we use. Mm-hmm. And they have a USCA facility. So maybe we have them make it. And then it was like, okay, maybe if that goes well, then we can start like testing out our other flavors. So we did our first test run with them in like October with the kielbasa, I would say. It was October. And then we're like, okay, like in 2 weeks, we'll do like one day where we run potato and cheese. And we were just like we were like, maybe in like 6 months we can transition this over. Well, in the meantime, we like landed Stop and Shop. Then we landed QFC, which is like 60 stores belonging to Kroger in like Seattle and Portland. And then now it's Sprouts. And it's just like it went real fast from being like, yeah, we'll just be there like once every 2 weeks, like testing out our flavors, to be like, we need to be here 5 days a week. Wow. Like, can you please help us like find space for us to produce?
Wow.
And so like Sprouts has ordered like, I don't even know how many hundreds of thousands of pierogi. I would say like 500 to 700,000 pierogi.
So what are you producing a week now in pierogis?
So I would say like 140,000 pierogi. No, that's not even real. It's like 30,000 pierogi a day. So 150,000 pierogi a week, if not more. But I would we're running 6 days a week currently. So
wow.
Let's just say 180,000 pierogi a week. And that's like a necessity of meeting these Sprouts orders for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
never mind
cool.
everything else that also like all of our other accounts that also are like coexisting with this, So
wow.
Yeah, so it went like we have a vacant advertisement. We have a vacant 3,200 square foot space in Lynn.
Yeah.
That we are trying to rent out. That's like fully built out. And my friends will be like, my other food business friends will be like, oh, it's empty? Like, how is it empty? Like, how did you not plan better? And it's like, dude, this just came like a wave.
It flies, yeah.
It was just like a tsunami that made us like our whole business was just like, okay, now we're co-packing. So,
Is your co-packer ready to continue to expand?
yeah, I mean, I think so the initial orders for these grocery chains are always like insane.
Yeah.
And then you level out and like they just are like this is like loading up and then or front loading and then they'll like pull from that and then they'll it'll even out. It'll definitely be a big account for us, but it won't be like this insane.
Yeah.
It won't be like this insane all the time. That being said, it's already like on our plan to find probably a West Coast co-packer, because the shipping also gets to be a lot when frozen all around the country. So that's like next on the plan. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
things.
very cool. So, in true Beers and Careers fashion, it wouldn't be good if people didn't get to know your background because you did not go to school for pierogies.
Yeah, it's a very specific major, pierogies.
Right.
I was not accepted to the program. I'm just kidding. No.
Well, I know you love to travel, and I know you had a very just. Can you share maybe what you thought you were gonna do? And
yeah, so I was a true language nerd, like travel nerd, language nerd, really into politics, international relations. So I went to Tufts. Like I guess even before that, like in high school. Just extreme nerd all around. Like my friends and I would like sit around and look for like summer programs to participate in. Like it was like that was like our crazy Friday night. I remember like finding this program run through Tufts actually that was in the French Alps. That was like international relations and French. And I was studying French at the time in school, and it was just like, oh my God, this is my perfect program, and like this is what and so I like begged my parents, and so I went. Even like the summer, like it was like the summer before my senior year of high school to France for the summer and like lived with this host family and did this whole thing. But so I was super language nerd. So I went to Tufts again, for international relations, French and Italian. I triple majored, always an overachiever at life. That was what happened. And then I worked for like a lot of international companies doing various roles, but like account management, marketing, project management. Like I'm just kind of...
You wanted international business.
I wanted international business. And I think that like what I saw myself doing, and if you talk to my sister, by the way, I think I've covered that. My sister is my business partner. She's 4.5 years younger. She went to Bentley, and so she did like business, right? I kind of just saw myself like when I was 26, I was like director of operations at a startup. Like I kind of just saw myself like climbing the corporate ladder and being successful in that way. My sister always wanted to have her own business. And so for me, like when we started it, it was really about the legacy of carrying on like our grandfather's name and his recipes. And like, while we've always been super aligned on like what, as it grew, what we wanted it to be, I don't think I would be happy working for somebody else again. Like that doesn't bother. I'm happy working for myself, but would be fine. She's like, I could never work for anybody ever again.
Right.
So I liked the international element. I worked for an Italian company for several years where I was like back and forth between Boston and Rome. I'd be in Boston for a month, Rome for a month, back and forth. And so like once we grow this, or like now that, we're co-packing, I am a remote worker, which is like a wild thing for me. I can't even.
It's perfect.
It's
right?
like, it's just like, it's great. It's like, oh my gosh, I can travel. I can work from anywhere except for my ball and chain, my dog that he hasn't figured out how to fly yet, I guess. But like, that is wild to me. Like the time management element that goes along with it. But, I think like, once we grow this business, if we continue to participate in it or if we sell it, my future is like bouncing between international places.
Yes.
And
that's your jam.
That's my jam.
And I didn't let the audience get to know you. We're drinking Modelo.
Oh, yeah.
What is your favorite cocktail?
Oh, cocktail. We're going cocktails?
Or drink. Like when you're a beer. You're a beer.
I'm a beer girl, for sure. Cocktails are like...
You got me into these.
Oh, yeah?
Because I'd never had the Negro variety.
Yeah, I like the dark beer. I mean, I like all beers except I don't enjoy like...
As you wear your Allagash hoodie.
I know. I came branded. I I went to Allagash for my birthday in September, and they
nice.
treated us like royalty because I was like, "Hi, I'm from Jaju Pierogi, and like I'll bring you some pierogies." And so we came. We had like 2 free rounds of beer. Like I got a free piece of swag. Like
I love it.
It was we got like a private tour. It was
cool.
amazing.
Very cool.
So Allagash is the best. Obviously, they're known for being like super classy. But yeah, I'm a beer girl. I don't like Pilsners because they just endlessly remind me of college. I don't know. I can't get rid of it.
I get that.
And I don't like, like the pastry stout. I don't like sweet stuff really. Like pastry stouts or like bourbon. I don't like bourbon or whiskey or any of that in my normal drinking. So like anything that's like the bourbon barrel aged, blah, blah, blah.
Not a
like
fan.
not good. And I also am like fairly tiny, so like if I'm like, why do I need to drink a 9% beer?
Yeah.
I'll be like asleep. I don't know.
So what is your go-to? Like
So-
if you're like on the way home, what are you grabbing at the store?
So I got a lot of free beer for a very long
I
time
bet.
because I did the brewery circuit, but I would say that I'll just name a couple different styles. So like obviously, an Allagash White is so classic. Like
is.
that's, that's easy. I really love, this is kind of going big name with this, but whatever. I really love the Harpoon Winter Warmer,
Okay.
which like,
Yeah. It's a good beer.
I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Is
been
it-
60 degrees out this winter,
There's
but
like
if
a
it's,
nostalgic thing for me.
I
with
mean,
winter
drinking
warmer.
out of a bottle. I mean, I'm drinking
Right.
out of a bottle here,
Yeah.
but yeah, so there's that.
It's like that means Christmas to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it was colder, it would feel more seasonal.
Right.
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 For IPAs, I say that like if I was going to recommend an IPA to anybody that they could find pretty regularly, I would say the Castle Island Fiver.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Which is like, I think it's like 6%, so it's really manageable, and it ages so well. Like I don't drink beer very quickly in my house. I drink more socially.
Yeah.
And so I can get a 4-pack and like not drink them
hangs.
quickly. And a lot of IPAs, like you crack them open, like if you leave them for a couple months and you're like, ooh, okay, I'll drink this, but only because it's just me.
Yes.
And like,
Yeah.
but that beer like can last for a while and
stays
still
fresh.
be fresh. Yeah. So those I would say are the
That's a pretty good summary, by the way, on a show called Beers and Careers.
cool.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite curse word as a fellow masshole?
Oh man, any curse word, but I would say I probably drop the F-bomb pretty regularly.
That tends to be that's a perennial favorite.
Yeah, and you know what's really great is that my mom has now started to regularly drop the F-bomb too,
Yes.
because I don't know if we've like reached a certain age or she just
Yes.
literally doesn't give a fuck anymore there herself, but
Yes. I feel like my mom won't do it with me because of like I'm her son, maybe. But like my dad has certainly leaned in, and she doesn't mind when I swear as much.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's
isn't that funny? We left that phase of life
yeah,
where
but
that was like a thing.
what that
swearing
are-
in front of your parents.
Oh yeah, no, it's. I think it's
the
just
good old
it's
days.
normal now. And it's funny. I'm talking about this supplier manager. Going back to being a masshole, she was like, "I have the best." She's like New England based, or she has New England suppliers, and she was like, "I swear, like a lot of times, like my suppliers like always win this pitch slam, like because you're supposed to be." It's the person who's like entertaining
Yes.
can kind of win, and I was like, "That's because
Your video was awesome. by
Thank
the way.
you, thank you. It was great. It came out. It went. It was. I was there. I was nervous.
I was thinking that. I was like, I wonder how much she practiced.
a lot in front of my mirror
Because-
and my dog. For
Because
sure.
your sister videotaped it?
No, a friend of mine in the audience. My
Okay.
sister was not there.
Okay. Because I remember watching it on Instagram being like, that takes some courage.
Yeah. Well, so I'll circle back to that. But the supplier manager was like, "Yeah, my suppliers like win pretty often." I'm like, "You're coming from the land of like comedians, of people who
Right.
have like
Right.
no filter. Like up in New England, like we don't give a shit.
No.
we have no filter. Like we're just gonna get up and there and be like, this is me."
And there's a lot of wit.
And there's wit.
lot
It's
of
like the
wit.
land of like 90% of comedians come out of here
They
because
do.
this is the life we live. But yeah, so with practicing the rap. So my friend had told me about. So I got invited to this pitch slam, and it's like me against 5 other businesses, and they're all like up and coming businesses. And so I messaged my friend who was he's a what you call like a buyer for a grocery group, like 2 stores in the South Shore, which is just the person. I realize there's a lot of lingo in
Yes.
grocery that like is natural to me now, but like maybe not be clear. So a buyer is just someone who's like the person responsible for making the purchases for the stores.
Yep, procurement.
Like that, and like deciding on new products, like all that. So like when I call a store or call on a store and I want to like pitch my product, I'll say like, hi, who's responsible for buying for the frozen grocery section? Like that's how I ask for the right person.
And
anyway,
are you cold calling often?
If it's a small store, like if it's a large chain, woohoo, large chain, like I'm talking like Harris Teeter now, or like Ingles is another one.
Yeah, Publix,
like Publix,
big.
whatever. There's a person in a corporate office at an email inbox. But then if you're talking more to like 2 to 3, like a group of like 2 to 3 stores, there's someone who's like literally on the ground, and so you can call the store and ask for them. And I can like, there's like a little bit of a sales strategy that we have going on with that too. But anyway, so I asked my friend who's a buyer, and he was like, you have to be, going back to the pitch slam. He's like, you have to be entertaining, because no one that gets up there who's like, hi, my name is Vanessa, and I sell pierogies, and this is how the velocity of our product is. Like, no one's ever going to win like that. So I was like, all right, challenge accepted, given that I'm flying to Orlando. Like, I'm flying to Orlando, of course, like, every airline has 8 billion different fares now, like, and so it's like JetBlue basic, but I added a checked bag for my trade show things, but I don't have a carry-on. It's like, oh my God. It
is insane.
It's miserable.
I'm on Team Delta hard because it's normal. It's just
it is. I like Delta too. It's just like those. Yeah, Delta didn't have. I looked at them. They didn't have the right flight times when I originally bought. And I wasn't participating in this pitch slam when I was going originally.
Right.
So I was like, all right. I thought I toyed with like printing out like a big like setting to FedEx Kinko's this big like life size cutout of like the pierogi from the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know how they race?
Yes.
Like that, they have Mrs. T's on the cap, and they're doing this whole thing, like crossing out Mrs. T's, like slapping. I like played with all these ideas, and I was like, all right, I don't have, like, that's too stressful. I don't have the space. Like, I got whatever. So I was like, all right, I can bring a big speaker, and I'm going to rap.
Yeah.
There you go. So I wrote the rap. I listened a lot to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like the extended version. I would like write the lyrics as I was going through the song, and then I found like the right instrumental version on YouTube. Practiced a lot in front of my dog and in front of my mirror, and my dog was like, "What is this?" And I pulled like my shades. I couldn't have my neighbors see me like just kind of grooving in my bedroom. So and like I kind of knew I had it. I was thinking I was the last one to go.
Okay.
And I kind of knew that like my chances were good because
you were underwhelmed thus far.
They didn't get the memo, and I feel bad. I mean, like, no, I don't feel bad, but like, they didn't have a resource like I did to tell them that like you're not just getting up and being like, this is
it's a comedy bit.
Yeah, like you have to be memorable. Mm-hmm. So, so once like 3 went, I was like, okay, these have all just been like as if they're pitching to investors, right? So I kind of felt a little bit more confident knowing that like I could mess up and I'd still be like funny.
Yes.
But it was like, I keep saying, when you're rapping, like you're trying to hit the beat. And like, if you throw in like one more syllable that you're not supposed to, like a or a the or something, like you're off.
Yeah. It's not going to help.
So that was really the pressure. I'm fine with speaking in front of people, but it was just like the pressure of like, hitting that beat.
I did watch the video and go, what a badass. That was my first one. I was like, what a fucking badass. Like, what a sick way to do a pitch was my like immediate reaction.
And like,
can you send me that video?
I will send you. I put it on YouTube because I've decided it's going to be part of my sales pitch now. So like, because people saw me do it. And like, I had so many UNFI reps, like the distributor reps, like the salespeople come up to me and be like, hey, that was, or like stores that I've been trying to get in touch with who like have never responded to a freaking email, be like, hey, nice job on the pitch slam. Like that took a lot of balls. Like,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how you got to weave that into your marketing all the time.
I told them. So what I didn't, the reel, everybody, I posted it on my personal page.
Oh, it is on your personal page. Okay.
Yeah, it's on my personal page. But I didn't pay attention. I think it cut it. I don't know if you can make
I think
reels
that's
longer.
I think that's why.
You can make reels longer. I have to do that. I have to post this to the business page. I'm contemplating when I'm going to do it. But at the end, I literally say, like, just so you know, I will be sliding into your inboxes as the pierogi girl that rapped from now on.
Yes.
Like, that is how I'm going to be positioning
post
myself.
it when you go to Vegas or
Mohegan. No,
Too far
those
out.
people are not, like, the people who are watching the social media are, like, customers going to the store.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just going to post it for entertainment on, like, a Friday or a Monday.
True.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it worked out really well. I got a lot of attention at the show, and, like, it's led to a lot of conversations with groups of stores that maybe have been a little elusive or whatever. So it's been,
Made you more
good.
human.
It was worth it.
Now, through this, like, crazy journey of the exponential growth, do you track... You must track. Do you care or have like metric goals on the social media piece?
Oh gosh, yeah. So social media is, I mean, it's hard because I feel like they're always changing the algorithm.
It's its own job.
Right. And so I have relied extremely heavily on social media for the past 7 years to like create a following for our business.
You do a great job.
And like so like that's
suck at it.
So my sister does finance and operations, and I do sales and marketing for the most part. She was doing sales, and she has like some accounts she still wants to pursue.
But that's how you're dividing labor.
But that's how we're dividing it now. So actually, my thing is like I'm still focused on social media, but I'm actually focused on like other parts of marketing now. Like I want to do more Google AdWords, SEO,
okay,
and like PR stuff, getting our pierogi into hands of some like, there's so many newsletters out there like that people read. I'm like, how do you have time? But no, people read these newsletters.
I read the Morning Brew.
Right. So my friends had Morning Brew. My sister, people like the Skim. Like there's some that are out. There's a lot of them out there that I need help with, because if we could just like partner with some of them and they write a piece, like there's a lot of other things that I just have not had time to do that like now. Maybe I'll have time to do. I'm definitely a creative marketer. I always keep saying that. So like the social media stuff comes very easily to me.
It's fun for you.
It's like my brain. It's like what you see on the Jaju Pierogi Instagram is like my brain at work. Like it is a direct translation. Like my sister doesn't even have access to it. Like it's just me fucking around on the Jaju Instagram.
It's good.
So like the voice, like everything is just me.
Yeah.
So it's just very easy. It comes easily to me. Trying to like it's like crazy how Instagram and Facebook are the same company, but like their stuff does not translate.
Yeah.
Like the reels, like now Instagram pushes reels, but like if Facebook, like video doesn't really translate to Facebook. I don't even go on Facebook anymore. So like, but I know like there's a certain audience on there. And so it's just a
huge audience.
It's a huge like older audience that's also very engaged. I also like try, there's a lot of brands that have like more followers than us, but then I go and I look like at their posts and like they might have like 20,000 followers, but they're getting like, 80 likes on a photo.
The engagement of the followers is really low.
And so like we have just under 10,000 followers, but like they're so engaged.
Yeah.
And they're invested. And so that to me is more important, even though like I'm like, how the hell do I keep adding followers?
Are you a Gary Vaynerchuk fan?
I don't know.
Oh, he's an interesting guy because like I am not wired like you are. Like for me, that's more like a forced thing.
Yeah.
Like even the Beers and Careers videos I make and stuff, like I'm like doing it like I go to the gym. Like I know it's good for me, but I don't like it.
Nice. Yeah.
But he's got some really good. He's like a creative marketer guy who really helps people with that kind of stuff. And so that was like, for you, I think it would be like all the technical bullshit that you hate about it. Yeah. He sifts through that.
Well, so I'm not like an analytical marketer.
Right.
So that's why like the AdWords, like I'm starting to work with someone on the AdWords SEO part, which will be like if someone in Texas like searches like where do I find pierogi near me, then like we pop up. Like that's the stuff. Because I've also concluded maybe correctly or incorrectly, I extrapolate a lot of my own behaviors to
I think that's a good way to do it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not everybody,
you can make
but
mistakes,
yeah.
but I think it's the only way to really do it is to put yourself in the shoes of others, right? So that's like you're gonna have some bias doing that.
I like one of the things that I've thought about is that there are brands and there are products that I buy regularly at the grocery store, and I like buy them. I don't buy others. Like I'm invested, but I would never think to go follow them on social media. Like,
agreed.
you know, like
Yeah.
I buy,
Yeah.
like I always say, like I buy, like let's just say, like Dave's Killer Bread. Like
Yeah.
I buy that one. Like I'll buy like I'm a vegetarian, like Gardein chicken fingers. Like I'm never gonna go follow Gardein. I mean, like maybe, but like Gardein or like Dave, like I'm never gonna be like, ooh, I want to go follow that. Like
Right.
I'm never thinking that.
Yeah, there's no
So,
like draw to it.
Yeah, so like I try to create a lot of fun content, but I am also realizing that like people can be very invested in our brand without ever interacting with us online.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so really, but I do think that, you know, I'm starting to work on the other elements of marketing that I haven't done yet. And we'll continue to do the social media stuff for sure.
No, that makes sense. How like what I wanted to talk to you about, because I remember your post on Valentine's Day, the second half of your post, and I was texting you about it.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, was that last week? What week day is it? It was this week.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Atlanta.
Wait, which one was it? The
one where
who's-
you were like, I finally am so enjoying what I'm doing. I don't care about.
Oh,
what,
yes,
like,
yes,
what,
yes,
And I was like,
yes,
and I
yes.
just thought to myself,
my
like,
personal post. I wasn't sure if you were talking about the
I'm
Jaju
sorry.
post. Yeah,
Yes,
no,
I'm
it's
talking
okay.
about your personal post, and I was like interested, since I knew you were coming on this week, to be like, how has like, do you feel like you've, I mean, changed? Yes, but like, what's different about life for you in terms of like, it seems like there's a stronger sense of confidence in day-to-day life because like because you're successful, but like it just seemed like that post to me was like, oh, this is a person that's like really reflecting on like, I don't know, I'm gonna make up a time, the last 5 years of their life, and really happy about where they're at. And it was just like, I'm really like interested because I think that content is interesting for a Beers and Careers follower who might be doing something that they didn't think they were going to be doing. They start to find out they like to do it.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts the horse blinders on to all the bullshit on the outside world.
Yeah, I think so. I think like, I don't know. If it takes a while to hit your stride for sure with business. I'm trying to like. There's so many thoughts coming through in my brain,
I know.
like how
That's
to trans.
that was a complex question.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think that like once you've like really hit your stride with your business, you start to get like a sense of purpose. I don't know. Not that I felt like I didn't, but I mean, I never just personally, like I've never had like the desire to have children. Like it's never once ever in my entire life, like ever happened. And so not that I felt like I was without purpose, but I just feel like there are always going to be people that come into your life. Like I used to think that everyone was inherently good. And like, I think too, when you work in corporate, you are surrounded a lot with like-minded people.
Yeah, it's jaded.
And people from like a similar background. So it can kind of continue that idea.
Echo
that like,
chamber.
what do you call it?
Like an echo chamber.
Like an echo chamber, yeah, exactly. It can kind of like continue that idea or kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know if that's the right way to use that, but like where you're like, oh yeah, people are like me, they think like me, they have similar educational background, blah, blah, blah. And then like when you get out on your own and you're starting your business, you're encountering like a lot more people from different backgrounds. I mean, whether that's in hiring, working with employees, whether that's just like, I think for me too, it's also been in dating. Like when I was in my 20s, I feel like I dated a lot of people who were from the same background as me and have the same value system. But then now I meet people a little more organically and like, I don't know like where they're coming from, what they're doing, what their values are, everything like that. And so I think like, for me, so background for everybody is I made this like Instagram story post because on February 13th, because I felt like it was the eve of Valentine's Day, and it was like literally the first time that I can remember where I didn't care about Valentine's Day, and not in like a fuck Valentine's Day. But
yeah.
I don't
Tomorrow's
need
February
this.
14th.
Tomorrow's February 14th.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're running 140,000. We're printing 140,000 pouches of Jaju Pierogi or Jaju Pierogi, and I have to go to Providence and sign off on these colors, and that's what I'm doing tomorrow. But other than that, it wasn't what is so and so going to do for me tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
To show me that he loves me or something. And now that we're in this business and it's coming together, and I just feel, everything is so dynamic in the business. And so you just have to you have to understand that when your business is growing, one of the major things on the line is your mental health. Your mental health is a huge asset to the business. And if you are distracted in any way, you're literally losing money.
Yeah.
And not that money is the everything, but you're putting your business at risk, And so I felt at times over the past years, whether it be, exactly, a bad experience with an employee or from dating or family or whatever, ever outside forces might be, that I have lost many hours during a week because I've been upset or distracted by that, whatever it is. And so that's really what my focus is, or my tune, or whatever you want to call it. My mentality is for this year is know that what you're doing is or has the potential to be very big.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with people that make you feel stable. And
it's such a juxtaposition, right? Because what I'm hearing from you is life, you almost had the realization, and I'm putting words in your mouth, so confirm or not, but you almost had the realization that life ultimately is a single player game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
I haven't thought that way, but it is.
So I have about my own life and stuff, but at the same time, it's the weird thing about that is it's way more fun doing it with other people.
Yeah.
It's it's this weird
right. And
tug of war,
but I think too, though, for me, I always say I feel the opposite of lonely. Obviously, I'm super active on social media. I'm always interacting with people there. I have such good friends. I have great people in my life. And, those people, they're not, I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not married. I don't have kids. But, that's, the societal norm.
Yeah, you're doing what you like.
But I don't, I feel so fulfilled in my relationships that I don't know. And I just value the fact that they lift me up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I've just been going into this year, I was I got to focus. I was on the dating apps. I just was who are these people? Just Rocky, and giving up a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so not that that's, if you're in that place in your life, it's fine. But for me, it was just just understand, especially if you're in these certain growth points in your business, making the relationships that you have can really make or not make or break necessarily. They're not gonna sink your business, but they can cost you in different ways. So when you're at that point, just curate who you have around you. And even for me, it's the exercise. It's not just people, but it's the exercise, your home, your diet.
Your work is such a reflection of how things are going at home.
Yeah.
Right? If the bed's not made, it's hard to go to work and do well, right?
Yeah. Or just so it's just creating this real environment around yourself that allow you to be productive.
Homeostasis.
Allow you to be productive. So for me, I was just I feel appreciated. I feel successful. And this is, we're going into last week, when I checked into my hotel in Orlando, I got a message from my ex-boyfriend that we broke up 10 months ago. And it was just it kind of reaffirmed a lot of these things that I'm saying. He was just going on about how he felt he ignored me for 10 months. Cause I would be hey, how's it going? Just being friendly. And he would just ignore me. So he butt dialed me. Video dialed me 2 weeks ago, and then also didn't acknowledge that, and I was I have no idea who this person is. What is going on? Why can't they just be sorry? But then he messaged me, and he went on and on about how he had to keep me at a distance because he didn't want to mislead me in any way, and I was bro, like I'm doing big things now. Like
Right.
I don't like you
Right.
think that,
Right.
and so it just like reaffirmed this whole idea. It's like, okay, like you're like focus on these big things that you're doing
Yeah.
and just like keep, I don't know. It was just like this moment where I was like, we crossed paths for like then, but like you're here now, and I'm like on this path
Yes.
that's like up.
And don't you feel
So-
like it's kind of hard, like the way I like hearing you talk? I think about like experiences in my own life where there are times when you're working 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I remember being a little kid, being like, I never want to do that. And then you're realizing that like the harder you work, almost the more you can handle. But it's because,
yeah.
but it's because you're in like a sweet spot.
Yeah.
And like I feel like parsing out the stress being good stress versus bad stress
yeah.
is such a challenge. But like what I feel like I've noticed over like through your post and then obviously through this conversation the last 4 months is like I feel like the business has helped you kind of parse through what's good and bad for you, and it's actually been my favorite part of working here. Has been like, yeah, it's good, and I get to make money, and I do all this stuff, but I feel like the personal growth way outweighs the professional growth because you got to do that in the dark when no one's looking for you to be able to do the other things. So it's like it's so funny. You know, you talked about the money not being important. It's like I feel like the journey of it is it's so cliche. It's so cliche. But when you're living it, it's like, this fucking rules.
Well, I mean, I feel so excited about everything new that is happening.
Waking up tomorrow.
Yeah, and like, obviously there's stress for sure, but it's, you know, I'm like, oh God, like tonight I have to go home and work on like the Whole Foods presentation because they finally responded to me. And like,
we'll send them the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm just gonna send them the rap. My flyer manager was like, you gotta send them the rap video.
You should. You should.
But like, yeah, I definitely get excited about the challenges. And I think, just knowing like what's important at that moment in your life. And, but like going to back to what you're saying about like, you know, you never thought you work 18 hours a day, but it's almost like it gets easier. So funny, I've taken on like, I'm starting something I want to do after Jaju, or like, I don't know when that'll happen, but is like more consulting. And so I've taken on like my first client.
Okay. Very cool.
I'm consulting for an ice cream company called Holy Cow Ice Cream. They're based in the North Shore, but they have like this crazy following, and they really get it, which I enjoy. Like they get good business, because sometimes you work with businesses and you're like, okay, like there's not like a business sense here. Like you know, I don't know, like who's going to buy this product? Like, does anyone ever ask for this product? Like that kind of thing, or like the branding is off. Like just, you know, sometimes you're like
fundamentals.
But this company like gets it. The branding, they get the social media, they understand, but they've hired me to help them with their distribution strategy.
Oh, cool.
And also like shipping, like B2C shipping. I think there's like other opportunities as well, but like I definitely can still help with some of the distribution, branding, and whatever. But my sister is like, I can't even. And I'm like, honestly, 10 hours a week working, and like I work like 3 days for 3 hours or whatever. It's helped add like structure to my day or to my week. Because when you're working for yourself, it's just like one endless work day. Like it's monotonous. Like 7 days a week where you can be working and like sitting at your computer and like being like shiny objects, like ding, 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 ding. Like, what am I working on now? So now like having that to break up my week is like, okay, before I go there, I'm doing this. After, I'm working on this. Tuesday, I'm doing this because I'm free. Like, it's just adds more structure to it.
Time management and
but yeah, I'm being. I feel like I'm at one of the most productive moments of my life right now. We'll see how long it lasts.
Isn't that? No, I think it's funny. Well, I think it's not. To your point on the mental health thing, it's not a detriment when you're enjoying it. Yeah, because it's fulfilling.
Yeah, I'm having so much fun even with the consulting.
That's how I honestly it's funny we're living a very similar lifestyle now because I was in Atlanta this week and it was like I went to dinner, brought my iPad to dinner because I was eating dinner alone, and then I got back to the hotel room and I was like, I guess I'm just gonna work for like 2.5 more hours. Like it's like I'm here and I'm enjoying what I'm doing and there's no one around, and I think it's. I think to 22-year-old Mark, that is crazy. That's crazy talk. So
yeah, I mean, I will say, like, we're from a family that loves to work.
Same. I have that.
Right.
I definitely
Yeah,
have that
too.
DNA
Yeah.
too. But like, there was just something about the college kid that was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not
Maybe
going to
the
be like
youthful
my family.
rebellion. But
yeah.
But
Yeah, if I don't have enough to do, I'm just like a lost
Going
soul.
nuts.
I don't know what to do. So anyway, and
That's awesome.
that's part of it too. Is like going into co-packing, like going fully remote. Like I came back from Costa Rica. I was in Costa Rica at the end of January, and I came back and like I left and I was in production, and I came back and we were no longer. And I was like. It was like it took me a good like 10 days to get my bearings.
Like what do we do?
I was like, first of all, I just got off vacation, so like what day is it?
Yes.
And then like now I'm fully remote, so like really what day? Oh, and then I'm going to Orlando for a trade show.
Yeah.
So it's like
And
I was
rapping. Yeah.
and then like working these days and like putting my smile on and like interacting with everybody.
That's awesome.
And then my flight got delayed from like 8 p.m. to like 11
Love
p.m.
that.
and then got in at like 2 in the morning. It's just like a lot of this whole blur. So it's a good time.
That's
I'm really
awesome.
I feel like honestly this is like the most fulfilled I've felt in like as far along as I can remember.
Well, congratulations.
So cheers. I know you gotta get more beer in that bottle.
Yeah, we're going to get some more, I think. But hey, thanks for coming on.
Yes.
And I think you got to come back and keep checking in, whether it's the next phase of
I
of
think
the business or the next phase of your
my
career.
person I know.
Yeah, so
The consulting or whatever. I know that's a whole other can of worms.
that's yet to be totally open. But I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.